Hi, everybody. What time is it?
It's time.
It's time. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Southern Vermont Natural History Museum's second live stream. My name is Melissa Morgan Oakes, and I'm a volunteer here at the museum. I would like to welcome you all here. If you don't know who we are or where we are, we're a natural history museum located in Marlborough, Vermont, on top of Hogback Mountain, just off Route 9 outside of Brattleboro. You are welcome to come and visit us once we're open again for business. Right now we're closed due to all the stuff that's going on in the community with the coronavirus. We've decided to kind of close our doors, but we do hope that you'll come up and visit us once we're open again. Want to talk to you also a little bit today about what we do. So we actually foster interest in the outdoors and the environment and in natural sciences in kids and adults, and we do that in a couple of ways. So the first way we do that is through our exhibits, and you can see some of them behind me here. We've got some taxidermy behind me. We also have got some rocks down in our museum, and we also have some live native animals. We also do that out in the community. We like to take animals out into the community to a library or a public event, and that way you get to get up close with them and see them for yourself. I'm going to kind of try to do a little bit of that today with some of our animals. The animal that I'm going to bring out is an animal that I really love. They're near and dear to my heart. They're a super important part of our ecosystem. Some people can be a little nervous around them or a little hesitant around them, but I want to help you understand why you don't need to be and why we need these guys in our environment. So I'm going to bring out our first guest. This is a snake. This is our corn snake Quest. Here she is. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to post them. We've got somebody here who can put questions on a whiteboard so that I can answer any questions that you may have. I'm going to bring her up close so you can get a good look at her. See that head? Isn't she beautiful? She's got this beautiful orange and black pattern on her back. She's a very beautiful girl. She has a really important job in our environment, as all of our snakes do. All of our snakes help to keep the natural world in balance. Their primary diet is going to be rodents. They're going to eat lots and lots of rodents in the course of a year. But she's also actually going to be food for other animals too. So she's not just going to help us keep our rodent population down, which helps to keep us healthy. She's also going to help to feed other animals, like our owls and our hawks that we have here. Snakes in the wild are a good source of food for them. So what can I tell you about her? She's pretty cool. She's native not to New England. She's actually a southeastern snake. You can find her from about New Jersey all the way down to Florida and west into Tennessee and Louisiana. She's actually a pretty common pet snake in the pet industry. You'll find a lot of these guys. They come in a lot of different colors that people have bred them to be in, but she's actually what we call the Carolina color or the natural color. This is the color that she would be in the wild. This is a good color for her because it helps her to hide in leaves. In her environment, helps to keep her safe. What else, sweetie? Oh, she's got that awesome tongue. Oh, let me show you this first. So if I can maybe I can get close and I can show you this. So if you look underneath at her belly, right? See that? See that checkerboard pattern on her belly? So that's probably how they got their name. For those of you who are familiar with Native American corn, or even if you're not, you can go look that up. Native American corn looks a lot like that when it grows, that cool checkerboard pattern. They think that's probably how they got their name. She's got that tongue that she's flicking. Can we get a close-up of the tongue flicking too? Because that's important. That tongue is really important. So where is she? Oh. I should probably learn which way to go when I'm trying to use this thing. She's not going to flick her tongue now just because I want her to. Well, anyway, snakes have a forked tongue, and they actually use that tongue to flick scents back into their mouth. They have a special organ in the roof of their mouth. Fancy name for it is vomeronasal organ, or it's also called the Jacobson's organ. And that allows her to smell her prey in her environment. That's primarily how she's going to find her prey. Her prey, most of it is going to be rodents. She's also going to be willing to eat birds and birds' eggs. She can get them by climbing up trees. She's got these really cool scales on her belly that actually stand straight up and help her to kind of leverage her way up a vertical surface like a tree or a post. In the wild, she's going to spend most of the time on the ground. She's going to hang out in the leaf litter, resting. When it's time for her to hunt, she's going to go hunt her food. She's going to grab her food. She's a constrictor. We call her a constrictor. A diurnal constrictor. Diurnal means that she hunts during the daytime, and constrictor means that she coils herself around her food and holds onto it until it stops breathing, and then she's able to consume it. She's going to start eating it usually head first. Sometimes she might make a mistake and get the tail first, but most of the time she's going to want to have the head first. She's got these really cool adaptations in her jaw. So where you and I only have one joint in our jaw, one on each side, right? We have a top jaw and a bottom jaw. She actually has got a top jaw and a bottom jaw, but she's got way more joints in there. So she can use those joints to help her head expand, and her head can actually expand to 2 times the size of, what am I saying? Your mouth can expand to 2 times the size of your head. That makes it easier for her to swallow prey like a rat or something. She's also got teeth in her mouth. She's got weak little tiny teeth that face backwards in her mouth, and that actually helps her to move her food along down her body into her stomach. Her stomach actually extends from just under her chin all the way down to her vent, which is where she poops. It's a really long stomach. It takes about 4 to 5 days for her to digest her food. We have a question coming in. Carter, can snakes be friends with people? Well, I would say that some snakes can probably learn to hang around with people, but I don't know if I'd say that they can necessarily be friends the way that you might think of friends. A lot of times people get these guys as a pet and they're a little disappointed that the snake pet doesn't really want to cuddle, doesn't really want to hang out with them on the couch like a cat or a dog does. And that's because it's not in their nature. They're just kind of really born to do a couple of things. They're born to eat, grow, and reproduce. That's pretty much their function. How big, Amy, how big does a corn snake get? Well, at their full adult size, they're going to be about 4 feet. We actually think she may be a little bit longer than that. We're not 100% sure. What else can I tell you about her? Oh, so inside their body, they actually have some paired organs just like we do. So we have 2 kidneys, for example. Snake has 2 kidneys too, but in her case, her kidneys are actually going to be one in front of the other. Her whole body is actually super flexible and muscular, so that when she gets her food into her mouth and down into her stomach, those organs can actually move out of the way to allow her food to move down her where are you going? Move down her stomach for digestion. I'm just going to let her go because clearly she's decided to go around my arm. Let's see. What else can we say about you? Oh, that jaw. So let me go back to that jaw for a minute. So the way that works, right, she's got an upper jaw and a lower jaw, and she's got all these joints in her jaw, extra joints in her jaw, and she can actually use that jaw. Each side moves independent of the other, and so she can use that jaw to move her food into her mouth. Once it's in her mouth, she's going to close her mouth from the front to the back, and that way the prey or food can't get out backwards. It has to go down into her stomach and be digested. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to ask them. Quest, where are you going? What other coolness about you? We did your vomeronasal organ. You did your awesome mouth. And your awesome eating. You guys, let's see if we can get her to move around for you guys a little bit on the table. Quest says, wrong way, honey. That way. We could try to measure her. We have a tube here. See how she uses her body? She uses the muscles in her body to move her body from side to side. Kind of a really cool thing. She's really just a big long rib cage with a lot of muscle. You want to try measuring her? Why not? Let's give it a shot. We have a second set of hands here. We may need them. So, we can take this tube, and if we can get her to go into it, let's see if she'll go. You want to go in the tube? Sure thing, she says. How long did you say this tube was? Let's grab the tape measure. My assistant. All right. The tube is just about 4 feet long, just under 4 feet. 46 inches to be precise. So once her tail gets all the way in there, we can figure out where her head is. Is she coming out the other end yet? Do you guys see her yet? Where is she? There she goes. Keep watching. Watch for the snake. So when she gets to be an adult snake, she's going to make a decision that it's time for her to make babies. She's going to emit a pheromone. It's a special chemical that she can emit that lets all the male snakes in the area know that she's interested in mating. They're all going to come gather around her and mate with her. And then for a few weeks, she's going to build up eggs inside of her body. And when those eggs get to be full grown and ready for her to lay, she's going to find a nice warm place, maybe in a rotting log or underneath some really nice rotted leaf litter. She's almost all the way in there. Do we see her head yet? No? So maybe she's shorter than me. No, she's definitely over 4 feet because I said this tube was 47 inches. There's only this much left. I think she's just about 4 feet long. Of course, now the question is going to be, how do we get her out of the tube? We could just wait and see if she comes out on her own, right? Anyway, she's going to lay her eggs in some nice, warm, moist area in some leaf litter. And there she is. She is 47, 48, 49 inches long. You are 49 inches long. You want to keep coming out? Yay! After about 6 weeks or so, those eggs are going to hatch. When the babies hatch out, she's not going to have anything to do with them. She's not going to be a helicopter mom. She's going to leave those kids on their own. They're going to start eating and growing, kind of hang around their home territory for a while. And then when they get big enough, they're only going to be about 5 inches when they're born. When they get big enough, they're going to go off into the world and start a life of their own. And that's our corn snake quest. And now she's out of the tube. I'm pleased that we now know that she is, whoops, bang, 48 inches long, 48 or 49 inches long. Now she's like, what are we doing? Why? Why are we doing this? Because the people want to meet you. Does anybody want to see her a little more? Let's try another up-close shot, because I like you to see her pattern on her back, which is really, really cool. See that pattern? That orange and brown pattern? So if you go online, you can actually find people have bred these snakes into a whole bunch of other colors for the pet trade. And that's kind of cool, and to me it's kind of a little creepy. If you think about it, those snakes out in the wild, there's one even called a candy cane snake, candy cane coloration. In the wild, I don't think that snake would last very long because it would not be able to camouflage. Quest here, as you can see, is pretty perfectly adapted to hide in leaf litter and hide from her predators, some of whom include humans, right? Also maybe a great horned owl or a hawk might want to eat her. Like I said, she's going to hunt primarily by scent. She can climb those trees and find those eggs. Should we bring out another snake if there's no more questions about Quest? All right, no more questions about Quest. We'll put her back. So this next snake actually is native to Vermont. And this is our eastern rat snake. This is Amber. Look at the size of that snake. This one we don't need to put in the tube. She probably is, I don't know, 7 feet long. She's a big girl. At adulthood, these guys can be about 8 feet long. Let me turn her around here so that you can get a good look at her. There's something really cool going on with this snake right now. See if you guys can guess what it is. If you look at her eyes really closely, some of you who know anything about snakes may know what's about to happen with this girl. Take a look and post answers below, and I'll tell you if you're right. So this is actually an East Coast snake. This is a snake that is found here in southwestern Vermont in smaller numbers, more frequently found at the further end of their range down in the southern United States. They extend all the way into Georgia. Really, really common snake in the North and South Carolina area. They can get to be just a little bit over 8 feet long. She's also going to eat lots of rats and mice in her environment. She's also an excellent, excellent climber. This is very much what we would call an arboreal snake. That's a snake that can climb trees. She climbs trees and houses. She prefers to live along the edges of a field or someplace where she can find access to both kinds of prey, a little bit of bird one day, maybe a little rat the next. All of our snakes are what we call exothermic, which means that they are cold-blooded. That means that she can't produce any heat within her own body. She has to get all of her heat from the environment around her. It looks like we have another question coming in. More about smelling. Jay wants to know more about how they smell. All right, so they actually have 2 ways to smell. And if I get her up close to the camera, you can probably see on her face you can see her nostrils. So you see on the very front of her face there, she's got nostrils, just like we do. She can smell with those. But then the other tool that she uses to smell is that organ in the top of her mouth. So she's got that forked tongue, and that forked tongue helps to flick aromas up into the roof of her mouth where there's two holes, and those holes lead to an organ in her mouth called a Jacobson's organ or a vomeronasal organ. It's actually something that our domestic cats have too. They do something called a Flehmen response, where you'll see them sitting and kind of breathing in the air around them. They're doing the same kind of thing that she does to find her prey and to watch for predators. They're sniffing everything around them to find out what's there. She's also going to primarily hunt during the daytime. Like I said before, that's a diurnal hunter. So she's going to hunt mostly during the daytime, especially in the spring and the fall. Sometimes in the middle of the summer, you might find her out after dark. That might be a better time if the temperatures are too warm. Can snakes change color? From Carter. Carter, that's your second question. You have a good question. So, can snakes change color? Well, when they're babies, when this guy's born, she's actually going to be splotched, like a gray color with dark color mixed in. She's going to be that color until she gets to be about 32 inches long, 36 inches long, and then by that point she's going to have this black coloration on her whole body. Again, she's also got, just like Quest does, she's got a little bit of that checkerboard pattern on her. She's also got this beautiful light gray belly. Now right now, this snake, like I said before, she's got that little bit of fog over her eyes. That means that she's about to shed. So right now she looks kind of a dull gray color, like a kind of a washed out gray. After she sheds her skin, she's going to have a bright, shiny, glossy black coat. So that shedding helps them get rid of any parasites that they may have on their skin. She might have some ticks or some mites or something that she needs to get rid of. And it's also a good way to sort of like take a bath without having to take a bath. You can just shed your skin, start over again clean. So some snakes do change color throughout their lifetime. Like they start out as one color when they're babies, and then when they get to be grown-ups, they're a different color. But she's not going to change color like the way a chameleon would. Like if I hold a chameleon up to something, it turns paisley, right? That's not really going to happen. She's also, let's see, Melissa wants to know about keeled scales. That's right, this snake actually does have a keeled scale. This is, I think, the only colubrid snake that has a weakly keeled scale. If I get close, you can see. If you look here, you can see there's like a little bit of a line down the center of her scale. That's called a keel. Our more venomous snakes, like the timber rattler and the copperhead, they've got a bigger keel on theirs. Oh my goodness, we have so many questions. How do snakes breathe? Lee, that's a great question. She breathes the same way you or I do. She has a nose right on the front of her face. She probably only has one lung. That's a little bit different than us, right? Because we have two, one on each side. Most snakes only have one lung, but she's going to breathe air in and out the same way we do. And we have another question. Do snakes eat each other? Some snakes actually are known as snake eaters. So we have another snake here that I would love for you to come and visit when we open up again. It's a California king snake. And that snake is known to be a snake eater. In fact, that's how they got their name. So the California king snake actually eats dangerous snakes. That eats a venomous snake. The California king snake can eat a rattlesnake. They actually have a partial immunity to their venom. And Xander would like more close-ups. So let's bring her over some more. Here you go, Xander. I know she's pretty awesome. She's worth a close-up. What I would really love is for when this whole quarantine thing and social isolation thing is all done, I would love for you to be able to come up and meet her in person and see her yourself. You can even touch her. You can feel her awesome, strong, muscular body. She's basically just a big rib cage with muscle. She's super strong. She needs that strength both to squeeze her prey so that she can eat and so that she can climb trees and things. There she is. She's a little camera shy. She's like, I want to go the other way. I don't want them to see my tongue and my gray eyes. Right? Poor thing, because you're going to shed. What else can I tell you about this snake? We've had a pause in our questions. How old are they? And what is our most, let's see, how old are they? So we kind of were trying to guess this morning how old we think they might be. Truthfully, we don't really know. When they both came to us, they were both adults, so we don't really have a way to know for sure how old they are. We could make a guess, but really all we know is they're adults. And what is our most colorful snake? Our most colorful snake here at the museum or the most colorful snake in the wild? See, those are two different things. I would say that our most colorful snake here is Quest, the snake that I had out before. She's that beautiful, rich orange and red color. That's not a snake that's native to us here in New England. In New England, we've got a lot of really cool, colorful snakes out in the wild. We have our milk snake, which looks a little bit like Quest, but she's kind of a milky gray color with brown or red spots. And we also have got garter snakes. Those are the dark snakes with the lines that you see running up and down their bodies in green and yellow. Oh, you want to know more about shedding? All right, so when it's time for her to shed, which probably will be later today, she's going to go back into her enclosure. She's going to rub her face on a rough surface until she loosens up all the skin around her mouth. And then she's basically going to wriggle out of her skin slowly from the front to the back. And it usually, if she does it well, and we have what's called a good shed, it's going to come off all in one big long piece. And that looks something like this. This is a shed snake skin. My granddaughter likes to call these snake holders. Okay, so see that shed skin? And if you look super close at this, and when you come here we do have some samples that you can see. If you look super close at this, you can actually see the keel I'm talking about on this one, because that was one, this is one of hers right here. And then I also have this one, which is a little bit different. There we go. Where are rattlesnakes found? Oh, rat snakes. See, my mind goes to rattlesnakes because I love snakes. I think it would be marvelous if we could bring timber rattlers back into our environment. So anytime I see, he wrote RS on the board, so I automatically went to rattlesnake. Where are rat snakes found? These guys like to be someplace where it's pretty warm. So here in Vermont, they actually like to be someplace where there's lots of rock and ledge that faces the south. But they're also going to be found, especially in the warmer weather, in a woodland, searching for prey. She might be found up a tree looking for a nice snake, not a nice snake, a nice bird to eat. They are found in the Champlain Valley. I've just been informed. This is good news to me. I didn't know that until just now. I think it's great that we're starting to let these guys come back. So this is a snake that was affected actually by what we did to timber rattlesnakes. And these guys in the wintertime, they like to brumate or hibernate. We would call it hibernation, but really it's called brumation. In the fall, around October, November, they're going to get all together in a nice warm den underground, and they're all going to sort of sleep until springtime, around April, when they emerge. So during that time that they're in that den, historically these guys are known to sort of go down into those dens with timber rattlesnakes, with copperheads, and they're going to stay there with those snakes. So back a long time ago, when people were a little less educated and a little more frightened, and a time when people were really needed money, our government put a bounty on snakes. And that meant that if you killed a snake, a rattlesnake, or a copperhead, brought it to your local authorities, they would pay you money, right? So these guys were all denned up with all those rattlesnakes underground here in Vermont and New England. Humans would go out in the wintertime and they would take dynamite and they would throw it down into that den. That dynamite would explode. All the snakes in the den would be killed. They would take the ones that they wanted for bounty and they would leave the rest. That unfortunately means that these guys suffered loss of a lot of the snakes that used to be in our area. And they're gradually repopulating. And like I said, it's super important that they do. We really, really need them. They're an excellent rodent control. We need those rodent controls for two reasons. First of all, because rodents carry diseases that can affect us, right? They can carry things like ticks that have Lyme disease. They can carry other diseases or other pests that carry other diseases like fleas. So it's important that these guys are around to help control that rodent population. It's also important because rodents get into our food too. Our food's food, if you will. So for folks who eat meat, those animals need grain in order to grow and be strong and healthy. Please no face kisses right now, sweetie. I was not paying attention. She was just going to come right up and give me a kiss. What was I saying? Rodents. Rodents get into the grain. Yeah, they get into the grain, and they either spoil the grain just by being in it and running around and making it dirty, or they'll actually eat all the grain that we need to feed the animals that we need to feed us. So having snakes in our environment is super important. Anytime we allow nature to be in balance, we're doing a good thing. Nature knows how to take care of itself if we let it. So, we still have a couple minutes left. If anybody has any more questions in the last couple minutes here, feel free to throw them in. I'm hoping after we're done with this, we're going to post a link down below to our GoFundMe. This is super important for us right now, unfortunately, because of all this great social distancing that we're doing, which is really important. I'm a fan of social distancing, definitely want to flatten the curve on this virus and have people stay home. But unfortunately, that means that lots of the group events that we normally would be going to at this time of year have all been canceled. So if you feel like you get any benefit from any of the programs that we offer here, please feel free to make a small donation. All of that is super important to helping us here. The other thing I would like to say, and this is probably the most important thing that we like to say here at the museum, and that is that we want you to get outside. So just because we're all social distancing, that doesn't mean that we have to avoid each other completely. You can go out with your family, go for a walk, go out in your yard, stay 6 feet away from your neighbors, play outdoors, start a nature journal, write down what you see, draw pictures of what you see. I would love it if you would come in here and show me what you found in your yard. You know, have fun. And when this is all over with, we really, really hope that you will come back and meet us here see us here at the museum, or come and join us at one of our events out in the community. I'm really grateful to anybody who came on today, and I look forward to seeing you at some point in the future. I'm going to put my sneaker on.